Hi, and welcome to Retro Modern Moto, where we talk about cool retro motorcycles that have modern reliability. And this certainly is one of those. This is a good friend's Triumph Scrambler 400X that I'm able to borrow for this weekend and put through its paces. This bike came out in 2024 along with its sibling, the Speed 400, and came out to a ton of fanfare and had immediately terrific sales results, and the pair of them became a couple of the best-selling motorcycles on planet Earth. So we'll talk about maybe why that is, what are the great things about this bike, and maybe a couple things that aren't so great if you stay with us. Thank you. We talk mostly about retro modern motorcycles on this channel. I do happen to have a lot of experience though with a KTM 390 Adventure. I owned a 2022 and the Himalayan 450, which I recently got the chance to review. And I'll be talking about those in comparison to this bike coming up soon. So please subscribe and thank you for watching. So let's talk about some specs of the bike. The seat height is 32.9 inches. The wet weight of the bike is 395 pounds. So it feels pretty light out on the road for sure. The bike rides on a 19-inch front wheel, 17-inch on the back, and has 43mm front forks with 5.9 inches of travel and 5.9 inches of travel on the rear as well. The Scrambler sounds good. The bike has 398 cc's, about 40 horsepower, about 27.5 foot-pounds of torque. It's got a 3.4 gallon fuel tank, which when you combine that with reported 65 to 70 miles per gallon fuel efficiency will give you a real nice range on the bike. This is a nice light to show the premium features of the bike. I will probably say it again in other parts of the video, but I really like the gold forks. I think that adds a very distinctive, cool element to the bike. I like the look of the tank with the stripe that just kind of evokes the Scrambler in some way, shape, or form. Triumph's materials that they use on their header pipes, I love it. It's bronzish color it's got to it. I'm not sure what that metal is. I should find that out, but that really is attractive. And then you can see how so much of the brushed aluminum just gleams in the sunlight. It's a very, very attractive motorcycle, especially at the price point. The details feel premium. The tank looks terrific. It's got a glittered paint both on the silver and black, if you can see that. The cool Triumph logo there. Even the gas cap is really nicely done. It's well chromed. It's got the Triumph insignia on the top, but very much screams Triumph quality as you look at the bike. Same for the header pipe. Very, very nice. It looks very similar to my T100, and love the combination of the different brushed aluminum elements there that really do give it a high-end feel. For 2026, the Scrambler X comes in 3 flavors. The Phantom Black that I'm riding, the Baja Orange, and Khaki Green. And the retail pricing in the US runs from $6,095 to $6,195. The bike is outfitted with Bi-Bree brakes, a division of Brembo. I'm quite familiar with them from my Royal Enfields, which they have kind of become the standard on the Royal Enfields as well now. This is a 4-piston unit in the front with 320mm disc, and seems to function really well. And the rear is a single piston 260mm disc. The instrumentation is quite straightforward. You get miles into trip 1 and trip 2. There's the instantaneous miles per gallon, but it was not moving at this point. And miles per gallon, 79 is pretty amazing. And then 250 miles left of range. The traction control and the off-road settings, which are also easy to set. And I think it's a nice looking unit. It fits that middle range void between looking like it's retro and yet giving you the information that you need to have. I've seen a couple complaints that the tack is a little bit difficult to see, which I would kind of agree with. Now, I don't use it very often. I certainly ride by feel, so it's not a factor to me. But if you really were trying to track your revs, it's a little bit difficult to do on that screen. The transmission on the Scrambler is excellent. It's very smooth, very precise. And honestly, I've been surprised on many of these quote-unquote budget bikes how good those transmissions are, and they're pretty much up to the standard set by Triumph across their premium bikes. The clutch pull is also very, very light. And it's great that this is the case because this bike is geared very low. And when you're ramping up to highway speeds, this highway that I'm entering is 75 miles an hour, for example, you are fanning through those 6 gears very, very quickly, and you will be in 6th gear by the time you hit 50. Now the good news is the bike does keep surging then and will get you up to 80 or 85 miles an hour as you need it. I'm told that it will go up to 90. I did not get anywhere near that myself, but I would believe it. I'm confident this will be the limiting factor in the bike's appeal. There are certainly people for which this gearing will work if you're in an urban environment and don't mind still fanning through the gears. You'll be in 4th or 5th gear, where on some bikes of a similar displacement you might be in 3rd gear, which is also part of the fun. But for those that aren't anxious to be doing that or have a lot of highway aspirations, that will be the issue with this bike. You can get a sense of that low gearing from the speedometer view as I accelerate up to speed to try to enter the highway. I went up to 60, which is really a sweet spot for the bike. The bike likes going at 60 miles an hour. It's a little less happy at 70. The vibrations are there. They're not uncomfortable, but they're certainly there, which is part of the single cylinder dynamic. The good news is there's a relatively simple and very popular fix for this, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. I'm sure the intent of the Triumph Scrambler, and frankly most Scrambler bikes, is to be able to handle some modest off-road competently and comfortably. And if you stay within those parameters, the Scrambler handles things very nicely. The stock Metzler K-Root tires are 70/30, and they perform well in this environment of dirt roads, gravel roads, etc. They would be overwhelmed by anything much more technical than that. The tires are tubeless, which is certainly easier to repair a flat if you're out in the middle of nowhere on road or off-road. We had the chance to take the Scrambler 400 and my KTM Adventure 390 to Utah, and otherworldly is not too strong of an adjective for this place. Valley of the Gods, Moonscape Overlook, and Goblin Valley, among others. Ideal places for this type of motorcycle. The off-roading is not too challenging and filled with unbelievable views everywhere you look. So what is my general impression of the Triumph Scrambler 400X? Well, it's a fun bike, it's a light bike, and it's pretty capable within its parameters in its stock form. I think if I were to get this bike, I would definitely look into the front sprocket fix, which I had mentioned earlier is kind of a simple way to take away what's really the biggest limitation of the bike, which is that super low gearing. So many owners have bumped that sprocket from 14 tooth to 15 tooth with very good results. In fact, it's possible that the owner of this bike may do that same thing, and if that is the case, I will report on that for you. So I think what intrigues me the most about this bike is whether it can be that unicorn adventure light dream bike that can do a little bit of everything at a comparatively low cost and a comparatively low weight. I think the Himalayan 450 and the KTM Adventure 390 are both right in that mix, and I believe that this Scrambler 400X is also right in that conversation. And in fact, I've had experience with all three now, and I think I'm going to do a video talking about that exact topic coming up shortly. So I hope you stay tuned for that. Once again, thank you for listening and watching Retro Modern Moto, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you.